And we're back. Is sound working? Jordan, welcome. Thank you very much for taking time out to join us. It's damn fantastic that you're here. Apparently, we have to stand on our marks because production and technical spent the whole afternoon rigging.
It out, yeah.
When did you get back to South Africa?
I arrived back last Thursday. Decided to take a nice weekend break with my dad, my sister. Went down to obviously watch some more racing. Went to the National Enduro to support the boys there. And yeah, it's just cool to be back home. Obviously, every year we try and get out as quick as we can because Europe gets super miserable, super rainy. So the plus side is we're obviously ending the season at home in South Africa. So it gives you a little bit of an extended break, should I say.
And you fresh off a podium in Spain. And that must have been really, really special to put the 107 on the podium in Spain.
Yeah, to be honest, we've had one of those seasons worse than a roller coaster. We started off in Bathurst, obviously with the IGCC Championship, looking good, ended up kind of with no result. Then when we moved on to the European season, it got a steady start, should have finished on the podium in Silverstone, and then strategy kind of played our way out. Then we obviously took the win in Paul Ricard, which put us right in the championship fight. Spa was a bit tricky, so we dropped back down, but it was good to show what the Bentley's capable of. Obviously, we've been working really hard this year, me, Jules and Stephen in the 107, and it was a bit of luck. We've got to thank Dries Van Toe and the Audi who took out the Merc in the last lap to give us the place. But yeah, you always take podiums and champagnes when you can. And
any way they come.
Every time you get on the podium, it's actually something Calv told me, that you got to celebrate every podium like your last. So trust me, I had a good night on Sunday nights in Barcelona celebrating.
We saw the pictures. What is it that the work that you guys have done on the Bentley that it seems to have a bucket load of downforce and with good grunt?
You know, the old Bentley was basically just a pure rocket ship in a straight line. Good aero, but it was quite a rocket ship in a straight line. Handling in the slow speed wasn't really that good. New car, the way the regulations work, obviously with the balance of performance, where they balance with power and weight, they went for a complete new concept. Obviously, a new chassis designed to distribute the weight 50-50. So the chassis itself is really good, but it's kind of too good at the moment, and we're really slippery aero-wise. So like Spa, for example, when it gets to greasy, rainy conditions, because we're the heaviest car on the grid, we tend to struggle. But normally it's quite good. I don't think we're as good in top speed anymore. They try to get all the cars to be in a similar range. And yeah, I would say the car is, although it looks still like the old car, the big ship, but it's really a good handling car, good dynamics. Aero-wise is probably one of the best in the field, which is kind of its strength and what we play on. So yeah, it should be good.
It reminds me of the size of that car. Reminds me of some of the memes with the BMW being as big as it is. But your car is big. What's been the absolute so far? You've got one race left.
Yeah.
And we're going to get to that one race left now. What's been the highlight of your year so far?
I would say definitely the win in Paul Ricard. It's one of those races where everything clicks together. The track obviously suits us, it's a high grip track, and where we're really good on the Bentleys, we're super good on tyre degradation. So we were just doing the stint. As the fuel was burning out, we were just staying in the same lap times. And it was super cool. Like, we qualified on pole in the morning, the first pole of the new car in Blancpain, which was really special, and the first pole of the team, which was really cool.
You've had a lot of firsts with that car. First pole, first win, first podium in the championship. Or fourth in the championship, eh?
Yeah, we ended up unfortunately 1 point behind, but yeah, like we said, it's Paul Ricard. Like, it was definitely the biggest highlight. Leading from the front, I had to get past Mauro Engel because he jumped me at the start, and then was probably one of the best stints in my life. Pulled away up to quite a massive gap, which was cool, but it's always good when you stand on the top step of the podium nowadays in GT3 racing with the best GT drivers in the world. You've definitely worked for it. Maybe the BOP's sometimes on your side, maybe it's not, but it's those moments you capitalize on the good potential is when it's all worthwhile.
And you need three drivers who are on top of their game and the team to deliver slick, quick, penalty-free pit stops.
Yeah, that's always the trick, because obviously it's on track, you're fighting for those single tenths, but in the pits it's something that I think everyone's going to get a massive shock here. There's guys you think doing mega pit stops here, but But when the boys are running around the car, changing four wheels, putting fuel in, and you in and out in 20 seconds or a little bit more, I think O's are going to get a proper shock to see what the boys do at home to prepare and stuff like that. So it's a big team effort. That's the thing with endurance racing. Like you say, 3 drivers have to be on the top level of their game, and we're getting a bit of a move on, yeah.
You're not standing on our stripe.
But yeah, you got to 3 guys who have got to be on the top level of the game. All the factory drivers around the world now are so good, within a few tenths of each other, and that makes the difference. But in the pits, like you say, it's where you can kind of win and lose the race. All the penalties are handed out there.
You mentioned the South African guys in terms of pit stops, which brings us neatly to the 9-hour end of November. You must be super excited and possibly a little bit nervous coming back to South Africa as now a superstar in GT3 racing to deliver the goods for Bentley in South Africa.
Hey, to be honest, when I left the country, I was just a little kid in Polo Cup. Obviously, a lot of people know me because of my dad then. I was Ian Pepper's son, and hopefully things are starting to change, that they know me for who we are, and I'm sure we're making a name, and we're trying really hard to fly the flag overseas, and it's super cool 5 years later to return also with Calvin and Sheldon, who I share an apartment with. We're the only 3 factory drivers out of South Africa in the last I don't know how many years, until back in the 90s with the old super touring car days and all that. So it's super cool to come back with our efforts, and we've come a long way, and it's all those people that supported us along their way that made the difference. You know, if it wasn't for everyone who was behind us back in the day of karting in Polo Cup, giving us the opportunities, like a couple guys who helped sponsor to go overseas to go try it out, and we had a plan, and we've made that plan execute, and I can only say we're living a dream, and it's cool to kind of come back and share that dream with everyone and just show where international motorsport is right now. And I think everyone's going to have a shock, but hopefully a cool shock, and really just enjoy and embrace the race.
I think just in terms of the shock, there's also going to be a massive shock with what a modern GT3 car is like, and to see 30 GT3s with, you mentioned, world-class drivers. Eyes are going to be opened.
Yeah, exactly. To be honest, the level of drivers is the best in the world. This championship has grown in tremendous fashion from when it started 2 years ago to now, and every single IGTC race that we've been to, it's nose to tail racing for as long as the race is. 12 hours of Bathurst, 8 hours Laguna Seca, Spa, 24-hour race was nose to tail, won by a couple seconds at the end. Suzuka, Calvin kicked all our asses there. But yeah, exactly. It was still the first hour, for example, in Suzuka.
I'm watching the stripe because production will come out here and kick our asses with the stripe. Gary, you got a question?
Yeah, Jordan, that question. You spent most of the year racing with the same co-drivers and that sort of stuff. Going into the new 9-hour, according to the entry list, you might have different drivers joining you. What's it like as a driver when you have different guys joining you at the last race of the season?
I think that's probably one of Bentley's strengths over the other guys. We tend to always stay the same guys because we only do factory races in Blancpain Endurance and Intercontinental. Where Audi, for example, if you look at Calvin and them, they do their customer racing support, which is really good, where they do a lot of races, but then they come back to IGTC events with sometimes new teammates. But the strategy behind it is Bentley, obviously we're not in fighting for the championship, so we have the opportunity to change things up and focus on next year. Obviously we wanted to make a big thing of Bentley 100 years this year, but it didn't quite go that way, so we're looking to see what we can do. It's not definite that's going to stay on for the rest of for next year and so on, but it's a good tryout, and Max Soulé is a super good driver, joining me and Jules, who both young, work together really well, and hopefully the 3 of us can keep the results flowing and get the win at the end of the 9-hour.
The guys online have got their answer. Thank you very much.
Maybe Ian will finally be Jordan's dad and Tasman's dad in the different circles. And you spoke about the three of you sharing the flat in Germany, and we know it's in Germany because you all say super, and everything is super cool and super fast, and this German weather is super kack, and so, but you've got a Bentley you've got a BMW and you've got an Audi factory driver. How does that go down with the teams? Even though you guys are, personally, you're good mates, but how do the teams like it?
I think obviously everyone knows about it, and for sure, I think it's a strength we play on between the three of us, because you can always learn from what goes on. We tend to not just pitch up and race. For sure, we try to it, but there's a bit more effort behind it. And when we're back home, obviously we share onboards, look at each other. It's a secret I'm sharing with you guys, because it's
well, it'll just stay here.
Yeah, what stays on the floor should what I say should stay here. But yeah, it's something cool, and it's cool that we can train together. We're just kind of growing up together. You know, me and Calvin moved over at age of 17, and it's something we've really enjoyed and a challenge we've taken on. And Sheldon joined us a couple of years ago, so it's cool that the three of us are now not in the same brand, and we kind of can learn from each other. And it's just nice to see that all three of us are making our own history within our own brand, which is something nice.
Just remind us how old you guys are, because I think the average age in that flat must be 21.
Yeah, so Calvin is same age as me. We're both 23, and then Charles this year left from being a teenager to being the ripe age of 20. So the funny thing is, the young one's kicking our ass completely. DTM, BMW superstar. So yeah, we need to pull up our socks, but it's cool to see. You know, that kid's super talented, and what he's done and achieved is super awesome. And same with Calvin. So it's cool that the three of us have gone from being the two 13-year-olds and 10-year-old in karting when we're teammates back then, and then moved into Polo Cup with the dream. We said back then, one of us is going to DTM and we're going to be professional racing drivers.
And it was the little one.
Unfortunately, it was. He beat us to it. But yeah, it's cool. We're making our own paths. Me and Calvin in endurance racing. Charles is obviously doing select few races, and him in DTM it's super cool to see, and it's super cool to support.
It's going to be absolutely magnificent to see the three of you at Kyalami, and with David Perrell coming out.
We can't miss those guys, because David's done also a really good job. He took, at the age of 30, he went overseas, and he's found himself. There's two kind of ways to making money in professional motorsport right now. Either being a factory driver, which is everyone's dream, and we're lucky enough to achieve that and live the dream. Or what David's doing is he's turned himself into a professional coach, and he takes a lot of gentlemen along and he races with them. For sure he's not fighting for overall honours, and I think it's something that Gennaro is obviously working his way towards. I'm sure he's got a big shock, but a good shock to see what the level of professional drivers is overseas. He did spar with us, did an awesome job. Barcelona wasn't maybe as good as he hoped, but I told him it's not going to be always easy. At least now we're in his home backyard. He knows Kyalami, we don't, so hopefully he can teach us a few tricks. But I think the boys are always going to be on it. 5-6 laps, all these pros are going to be at their best.
When you say these pros, you one of them.
Yeah, exactly. I'm classing us as one of the drivers, and
isn't that sometimes a bit surreal?
Yeah,
where you think
a couple times.
You are a Bentley boy, a lead driver in 107. Unbelievable.
Yeah, exactly. Like I watched Bathurst I think it was the first Bathurst I watched. It was 2014, 2015 or something like that, and I was like, shit, the Bentley team, those guys are complete legends, you know. Now I'm teammates with the guys, and super cool camaraderie, and it's nice to be building my profile as one of the top GT drivers in the world, and hopefully I can keep this career going for many years. That's the dream. Each year we've got to keep chipping away, keep performing, keep trying to improve ourselves. And like you said, what's good about living with the other two boys is that's where I think we push each other along to new levels, and hopefully we keep it going.
Awesome. Jordan, we've got limited time here. Yeah, there are a whole lot of guests, and this is almost going to be the Pepper family interview. Step 2 of the Peppers. Jordan, thank you very much for joining us. All the best for all the rest of the year.
At the race, so yeah, everyone has to support and fly the SA flag high.
Yeah, we will.
Thank you very much.